A year ago, Neymar called Jadon Sancho one of his favorite players to watch. He said Sancho reminded him of himself, fast, fearless, and dripping with flair. But today, pundits like Jamie Carragher are wondering what his standout quality even is. Others are already labeling him one of Manchester United's worst signings ever. It's one of football's fastest falls from grace, and the real question is, how did it all go so wrong? Sancho's story begins in the South London cages. These weren't polished academies or safe playgrounds. They were tight concrete boxes surrounded by fences where survival meant flair and only the boldest could shine. In those cages, every touch mattered. A bad pass, and you'd be out, replaced by someone waiting on the sidelines. Here, Sancho's skills weren't just flashy tricks. They were a way to command respect. Locals still talk about the way he could glide past older kids, making defenders look silly, but this wasn't just fun. South London came with danger. Friends from his neighborhood would later fall victim to violence. Some ended up in prison, others never made it out alive. Sancho was different. He was a motivator, dragging other kids out to train with him, pushing them to take football seriously. That attitude caught the eye of youth coach Holmes Lewis, who took Sancho to Watford when he was just 7. For the first time, Sancho left the cages and entered the structured world of English academies. At a boarding school near Watford's training ground, he told his coach, "I want to play for England and one of Europe's biggest clubs. I want to make my family proud," big words from a little kid. But he meant every word, and the crazy thing? By 11, Chelsea and Arsenal were already sniffing around. Still, he stayed at Watford a while longer, choosing to grow at his own pace. Eventually, at 14, Manchester City paid just £66,000 to bring him in, a bargain for what was coming. So Sancho didn't stay long at City. Pep Guardiola admired his talent but couldn't promise him real minutes. Sancho knew he had to play, and when Borussia Dortmund came calling, he took the leap. The €10 million fee was a risk for Dortmund, but what followed? It made them look like geniuses. At Dortmund, Sancho became electric. He wasn't just a winger, he was chaos. Defenders couldn't stop him, teammates loved him, and fans adored his fearless dribbling. He broke records for youngest to score, youngest to hit 50 Bundesliga goals, and alongside Erling Haaland, he formed one of the deadliest duos in Europe. One season alone, Sancho hit 17 goals and 16 assists in the Bundesliga, numbers no English player had managed in over 2 decades. He lifted the German Cup, shredded defenses weekly, and looked like the future of English football. Even legends were singing his praises. Neymar wasn't the only one who saw something special. Everyone did. But success came with questions. Was this brilliance purely his own, or was Dortmund's system perfectly built for him? With Haaland running into space, Guerrero supporting overlaps, and Reyes linking play, Sancho had the freedom every creative player dreams of. Still, at the time, nobody cared. He looked unstoppable. Inevitably, Manchester United came knocking. In 2021, they paid €85 million to bring him home. The media billed him as the missing piece, the prodigal son who would light up Old Trafford. Fans expected instant fireworks. Sancho, with the number 7 shirt on his back, was supposed to be the next Cristiano Ronaldo. The hype was insane. After years of United chasing him, he had finally arrived. Headlines screamed about a new era, one where Sancho, Rashford, and Greenwood would dominate for a decade. It seemed like destiny, but football rarely goes to script. Instead of a dream debut, Sancho's first season felt like a slow fade. United's system didn't suit him. The Bundesliga's open spaces had vanished. Premier League defenders were tighter, faster, stronger. His teammates didn't mesh with his style. Ronaldo's surprise return sucked up all the spotlight, and Sancho struggled to adapt. By December, he'd only played the full 90 minutes twice. It took him 3 months to register a single goal contribution, and when fans looked at the €85 million fee, the whispers started, had United been scammed? Even with a coaching change from Solskjaer to Rangnick, things didn't improve much. Sancho looked hesitant, passing backward instead of driving forward. By the end of the season, he had just 8 goal contributions. For a player once called world-class, those numbers were brutal. United fans hoped year 2 would be better, but under Ten Hag, Sancho still looked lost. His confidence dipped. National team call-ups stopped. And when the 2022 World Cup squad was announced, Sancho's name wasn't even on the list. Desperate for a restart, United loaned him out. Chelsea took him in, and for a brief moment, it looked like a comeback story. Sancho played a role in Chelsea's run to the UEFA Conference League title, even lifting the trophy. But when it came time to decide, Chelsea refused to make the deal permanent. They'd rather pay a penalty fee than keep him. That said everything. Roma tried to sign him too, but negotiations broke down. Aston Villa expressed interest. Meanwhile, pundits sharpened their knives. Jamie Carragher questioned what Sancho actually excelled at. Fans debated if he was finished already at just 25. The golden boy of Dortmund was now football's biggest question mark. Now, Sancho's at Aston Villa on loan for the 2025-26 season. It's his chance at redemption, but it's also a last chance. Villa fans are divided. Some see him as a gamble, others as a potential genius if he can find his spark. United? They've basically washed their hands of him. After spending over 150 million euros between transfer fees and wages, they've decided enough is enough. The club is willing to sell, but the market value has collapsed. For Sancho, Villa isn't just another club. It's a proving ground. If he fails here, the next step won't be a top European side. It'll be obscurity. So, how did we get here? At Dortmund, everything was designed to make Sancho thrive. He had space to dribble, teammates who moved for him, and a league that rewarded creativity. In England, he got the opposite: tighter defenses, slower build-up, teammates who wanted the ball to themselves, not runners waiting for his passes. Even psychology played a role. At Dortmund, he was the star. At United, he was just another expensive signing. Ronaldo's return overshadowed him. Expectations crushed him. Confidence drained. It's not that Sancho lost his talent, it's that his environment stopped amplifying it. From the cages of South London, where kids fought to stay on the pitch, to the bright lights of Dortmund, where he looked like a superstar, to the weight of Old Trafford, where he crumbled, Jadon Sancho's career has been a roller coaster. And now, at Aston Villa, the question is simple. Is this his final chapter or the start of a rebirth? Can he prove everyone wrong? Or will history remember him as the Wonderkid who couldn't live up to the hype? Sometimes, football careers are defined not by talent, but by timing, pressure, and the system around you. Sancho still has time to change his story, but every game from here is a test. So what do you think? Has Jadon Sancho's spark already burned out? Or is the comeback just about to begin? But maybe that next move has already begun, because even after everything, the criticism, the headlines, the doubt, Sancho hasn't disappeared. He's still training, still chasing that version of himself the world fell in love with. Behind the cameras, his story is shifting quietly. Aston Villa's coaching staff describe him as focused, humble, and determined. No more spotlight, no distractions, just football. For the first time in years, he's rebuilding piece by piece. And there's something poetic about it. Back when he played in the cages of South London, Sancho learned that survival isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. Lose once, you fight again. Miss a shot, you make another. That's the rhythm of the street. And maybe it's exactly what he needed to remember. People forget what he carried. At 19, he wasn't just playing football. He was being called England's next generational talent. Every touch, every interview, every mistake was magnified. And when the pressure crushed him, the same people who cheered him were the first to mock him. But that's the cost of fame in modern football. Talent gets you there, but pressure tests if you can stay. Sancho's story isn't unique. It's what happens when a dream becomes an expectation. And yet, there's still something there. The same spark that made Neymar stop and say, "This kid reminds me of myself." That spark never dies. It just gets buried under noise. If Villa becomes the place where Sancho finds peace again, where he learns to play without fear, then this fall might be the beginning of his rebirth. Because football loves a comeback. We've seen it before. Players written off, forgotten, and then suddenly they rise. Stronger, wiser, sharper. And maybe that's Sancho's path. Not to be the next Ronaldo. Not to live up to Dortmund's version of himself, but to become his version. The player who learned the hard way what pressure can do and how to fight through it. So, maybe this isn't the fall of Jadon Sancho. Maybe it's just the pause before his second act. The cages made him fearless. Dortmund made him famous. Manchester tested him. Now Villa might make him whole again. And one day, when the cameras turn back, when the same fans who doubted him see him rise again, they'll realize it was never a fall. It was just part of the climb.